Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Real Fit Pros. It's your boy, Jonathan Loudermilk. And before we kick off the show, I need you to do me a favor. If you listen to the other episodes, you're going to know what that favor is. I need you to go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review. We put out all this awesome content. We're out here hunting to bring on awesome guests, which we have one on today for you that you're going to absolutely love. But we need your help to get this out in front of more Fit Pros so we can help them get paid what they're worth. And also don't forget to tag us on Instagram at Fit Pro Bros. Mark, I still can't believe we got that name, man. I swear every time I bring that up, I'm like, wow, it's amazing that we got that name. So we need to use it, and we need to use it by you helping tag us on Instagram so we can get this in front of more people. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton to my main man, Mark, the Fitness Ninja Zalmanov. What's up, buddy?
What's happening? Another great edition here. We got a great guest on today. Going to be a damn good show.
Damn good.
Good.
Damn.
All right. So I hope you all are having a wonderful day. If you're listening to this, we're in Texas. It's June. We're recording this on June 9th, and it's not raining today, which is amazing. And we've been flooded for like weeks now. It's awesome. So anyway, let's get rolling with this thing. So our guest today, we just met this guy through our Apex network. He is a fellow fitness professional. He's been an entrepreneur since high school, been in a lot of industries. He started off in small business management, then retail, which I think everyone should work retail or restaurants at some point in their life to be a better human being. Real estate, and now fitness. So back in 2008, he was a real estate investor, weighing in at 262 pounds of not like fit muscle, like he was just a big dude. And so in October of that year, he sold off all his real estate, got a gym membership, and then lost 80 pounds. And that got his toes wet into fitness. He knew he wanted to have a bigger impact on people. And for the last 12 years, that's been his focus. And he knows that he is on this earth to use fitness and nutrition to instill courage into everyone, to help them become the most elite versions of themselves. You may have heard that phrase before. Ladies and gentlemen, the Courage Coach, Adam Berezowsky. Adam, thanks for being here, man.
No, thank you guys so much. And it was an honor meeting you guys. And I've heard a lot of things about you, and I'm excited to share my story and my journey with you guys, and hopefully empower your listeners to do amazing things and get paid what they're worth.
Absolutely. Amen to that. So John and I met Adam last week for the first time in person. And while we were getting shot at in paintball by former Green Berets, MARSOC operators, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs. I mean, it was a badass experience. And how many people can say they got shot at by United States Special Forces and live to tell the story?
Right. I think it was like one of those bucket list items that I didn't know I had until I had the opportunity. And what was cool was I was actually on their team. So working with them, not against them. And then eventually I was against them, and then they shot me up pretty good. For sure.
I love it. So Adam, as you've been debriefed, we always start these episodes with a good story. So what do you got for us?
God, a good story. I don't know, man. I got years and years and years of stories. I like my elderly abuse story. So I had this lady. She was, I was working at Bally's at the time. I was one of their top trainers, and she was probably in her 70s at the time, maybe, yeah, probably mid to late 70s. And we lost about 70 pounds together. And wow, this lady loved to be pushed beyond her means. And it came to the point where our training area was in like kind of like the center of the gym. So it was like the cardio area, then the weight training, and then like we had like a little training area. And I had this awesome, it was like a 6-inch boat rope that I used as like a battle rope. And at one time I had her doing like, I don't know, 7 to 8 minutes straight of just like battle roping, slamming. And she was screaming and yelling, and people in the gym were like staring at me. We're like, what is this guy doing? And I honestly, I was like so into it. I was like yelling back at her. And it was a really cool experience because like everybody's staring at me. Actually, I gained a lot of business from that because it was pretty loud and obnoxious. But it was like elderly abuse, the way that she was screaming and yelling, but she loved it. She begged me for it. And so it was just a really cool experience. And actually, that was probably one of my first main success stories of working as a trainer, being at a big box gym. And it was, so that's one of my plenty. I'm sure I got more that I can choose from, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? That is so indicative of, and John, I'm sure you used to see it too. When you're in a big box gym, you have to do things to get noticed.
Right.
You know, I worked at Bally for a short amount of time, but then I worked at Lifetime Fitness, huge gym. We had like a staff of 40. And when I ran the boot camp program there, my voice echoed through that building. But just like you get business from it. So early on, before you even probably knew what you were doing, I know I didn't know what I was doing,
Nope.
but it's making a name for yourself and being recognizable and separating you from the rest of them. I love that. That's great.
So I had one of the best like mentors when I first got hired in. I had one of the best managers, and he really encouraged each one of the trainers. We had a staff about 22 because it was a smaller gym, and to make yourself different. So he was like, invest in equipment that the gym doesn't have. So that way, if they want to use that equipment, they have to work with you. And that really kind of set me up to excel into building what I've created today, to make myself different. Because if they want to be, if they want to do the cool shit that they can't normally do at a gym, then they come to work with me. And I mean, I'm so thankful. I go back to that. I mean, that's my roots, and I was loud, I was obnoxious. I was actually known in the gym for, I mean, I'm not proud of this, but having people fall off the treadmill because they had a prospect, and I would like go up and pop them back, hey, like, you want to train with me? And they're like, and they'd slide right off the treadmill. And so, but it got me a lot of business. I was became one of their top trainers. And so, yeah, it was a good experience for sure.
Man, we're already dropping gold nuggets. We're only like 5. I'm like taking notes over here. So something you made me think of, man, is dude, I always operated that when you put that jersey on, which is what I called it, your uniform is a jersey. You're on stage whether you want to be or not, man. Like,
sure.
You go, oh, that's the guy from the gym. Like, I can't tell you how many times I go to the grocery store and people knew who I was, and I had no idea who they were, because they were just someone working out in the gym. And I didn't really think too much about it. But when you're out there on that turf, which is like the main stage, right, for trainers, everyone's going to take notice. So either are you going to take advantage of that, or are you going to slink back and not own that and get any benefit from it? So hearing that from both you guys, once again, as a first gold nugget, ding.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I was just tired of seeing, like, I only worked at Bally's for a year, but I couldn't even tell you how many trainers came and went because they didn't like put out the effort to try to build their business, and that's the thing. It's like you become a trainer, they're like, oh, you're going to go work for a gym, they're going to hand you all these clients. And that's just not the case. It's like, you still have to, you got to market yourself, you got to make yourself different, you got to make yourself stand out. And, luckily you're working in a gym where there's people that only pay $20 a month for a membership that could be sold to buy personal training, but like, why do they want to work with you? And you got to, find your voice.
I love it. And it's the same, now it's social media. It's finding your voice on social media. And the same thing, there's a bajillion of us coaches. Why are they going to pick me or you over somebody else? Because after a while, we all kind of have the same knowledge. You train for a decade or so, and you don't know anything different than I know, and I don't know anything different than you really know. So it's the personality and the experience that we're allowed to create that really breeds our clientele. So Adam, what I want to get into now is, let's talk a little bit about, what does your current business look like? Where do you operate? How do you operate? What do you offer? And then we'll kind of go back and backtrack to how you got to this point.
Totally. So right now I own and operate Epic Fitness here in Simi Valley, California. We do big group. It's like a big group model. So like a boot camp style. We used to be really big into HIIT training, but HIIT it's damaging to the body, over years of overuse injuries, we got tired of it. So we're actually converting more into like 2 days of HIIT and then 3 days of strength training. So that way we're able to slow people down a little bit, work more on building muscle and hypertrophy and all that stuff, more than just like burning the most amount of calories in the least amount of time. We offer a couple different programs. Like, we offer our strong class, which is like our HIIT class. And then we offer our power class, which is our strength training only, like no cardio, really focusing on like bench press, like the main, calisthenic movements like bench press, back squats, hypertrophy stuff. Then over the years, like I have a pretty big facility. I have about a 8,000 square foot facility, and my ex-wife used to be really into spin, so I got suckered into buying spin bikes at the time. And spin's not my jam, but my clients love it. So we ended up converting part of our facility. I have an upstairs unit into a spin studio. So we offer a couple spin classes, and we really brought that in for like the days that your cardio days, that if you on the days you're not burnt, working muscle and trying to build hypertrophy, then, you go upstairs and do some cardio for an hour or so. But then on the other side of our business, which is like kind of the growing side, is our Spartan classes. So we have I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show Fantasy Factory with Rob Dyrdek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I consider this place like my fitness fantasy factory. So if I've ever dreamed it, we've built it. And so like we've outfitted our gym with like all the cool Spartan obstacles that Spartan Race has, all throughout their events. So we have like monkey bars, rope climbs. I have climbing walls. I've got what they consider Mount Olympus, which is like a traversing wall. We have the spear throw. We have buckets. I have Hercules hoist where you're hoisting up towards the ceiling. So I have all these things, which it's kind of like playing in a park for adults, in fitness. So that's a side of our business. And on Saturdays specifically, we have a 2-hour Spartan class, which includes like running, because Spartan Race is a running race, includes that, but it also has like obstacle practice where we do like the 6-foot wall and the rope climbs. And then we also teach technique stuff too, because if you have the strength, you got to learn the technique to like do the rope climb and hold on to monkey bars and grip strength. So we really try to focus in a lot on that. And then we also have one-on-one nutrition coaching. So that's kind of like we focus on big group. We have a bunch of little assets of big group. And then now we're going into like one-on-one nutrition coaching, because I was just tired of people doing like these, run-of-the-mill 6-week challenges. And, I'm tired of these people doing like, having like an expiration date. It's like, oh, for 6 weeks, I'm going to be healthy. And then on the 43rd day, I'm going to go out, have pizza, burritos, and then like all of a sudden they come back 6 weeks later and they're 30 pounds heavier. So our one-on-one coaching program is I'm trying to build both online and in-house, which is cool, but it's all macro driven, because people just don't know how to eat correctly. So we really try to take some time and educate them and pretty much hold their hands through the whole process and, hopefully build lifelong changing results.
So, you want to go first, Mark?
Well, I know John and I are like chomping at the bit over here.
Right.
A couple of things I'm hearing. Number one, with the Spartan stuff, fuck those buckets, by the way.
And ours weigh 100 pounds because we use cement and not rocks.
Yeah, I've done a couple of Spartan beasts before.
Awesome.
Texas, and fuck that bucket. Anyway, but what I'm hearing is solutions. I'm hearing you finding solutions to what people need and listening to what the demand is out there. I see the same thing with nutrition. This roller coaster of gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, and never really educating people on how to eat properly. So I love the one-on-one approach, because I do find that to be very valuable. I think, when you can educate people instead of just giving them a list or giving them a time frame challenge, I think it really does make a difference. Yeah. Being able to pivot your programming, again, looking at what are my people needing? Okay, we're having more injuries than we care to have. Let's solve that problem. You love doing Spartan. I love Tough Mudder. That's my jam. Like, nice. I'm doing the world's toughest mudder later this year. We should talk about that.
Definitely.
But you're literally finding solutions to problems that are out there, and then providing a great experience for people. And I love it. It's great.
Just like you said before, it's like, you can really go anywhere and get a good workout because all trainers are educated. It's really like, I always say, it's like the community and the education that keeps it, because it's like our clients never really plateau, right? Because they might plateau on their weight, but then we shift focus on the goal of like going towards like a Spartan race or a half marathon. And, we guide them through that whole process, because I don't know if you've got, like, there's that quote, never peaking, and you should really never peak. And that's the thing. And it's funny you say the solutions thing, because my corporation, the name of my corporation is AMB Solutions. So it's funny you say that. And all my fitness stuff is under my A and B solutions. And that's exactly what we do, is we find those solutions.
Well, I think the genius you hit on too, outside of like the education component, is, dude, you nailed the experience. Like, you found out that people don't like to exercise, but if you make it where they don't feel like they're exercising, that they're playing, right?
Yep.
Whether it's doing the Spartan race or doing these other unorthodox type of movements, that's what's really hooking people. So, man, I would love for you to expound on that, because, I have a firm belief that people come for the results, but they stay for the relationship, and you found the perfect blend between the two. So, man, I'd love for you to kind of share like how you got into that, and how do you execute that within your facility?
Yeah, well, it really started. So one of my clients, I've always been like a very big supporter of like my clients, right? Whatever goals they want to do, if they're crazy, I'm all in, I'll support you 100%. So one of my clients, this is years ago, so probably 2011. One of my clients went to go run the Malibu Marathon, which starts in Camarillo and runs all the way to Zuma Beach, which is like a really famous beach. And I went to support, I didn't run it. And at the finish line, instead of like, I'm like, congratulations, she turned to me and she goes, I bet you can't do that. And I was like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, I bet you I can. So literally that next day, I ended up signing up for my first marathon. So it was in 2012, I ended up running my first marathon, and actually convinced 2 or 3 of my other clients to run it with me. Okay. And that's honestly where it all started, because that race and having not only the training experience, because you're building these relationships by running and training for these big events. And then you run the event together and then you're suffering through it. So I have this thing called the fear bond. It's actually another thing from the Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. So fear bond is something that you do that's so scary together that you end up building this like lifelong bond forever. So like, and it's really instilled the trust in them that like, I'm in it with them, right? So, and then as we progress goals, we've just shifted. So like when it comes down to like, I would say like my client retention, I'll touch upon that. Is I love having experiences, because I have this quote, it's not what you can do for your body, but now it's what your body can do for you, right? Because by what you can do for your body is keeping it healthy, keeping it functional, keeping it moving, right? But then now putting your body to prove to you what you're really capable of doing. Right. So this is why like I really love Spartan race, because Spartan not only just challenges running and distancing, but it also challenges strength, mental endurance, because they have bucket carries, they have the dunk walls, they have things that like truly scare people. Right. But it's like I've been in many positions where I'm at a Spartan race. I've done, I don't know, like 50 or 60 Spartan races. Like I'm a huge junkie. Like these are just my special medals. You should see my hallway. I have like probably 300 medals down my hallway. It's quite an addiction. But like going hand in hand, when we're in a dunk wall, you have to go submerge yourself under in muddy water. And they literally are looking at me like they're going to die, and for the fact that I literally grab them by their hand and we go underneath and we cop up, and it's scary. The anxiety is going through the roof, and boom, like that thing is like, I just did that shit and like I'm fired. So I really try to take those experiences of doing hard things and bringing it into the gym, right? So consistently challenging them, whether or not they're interested in running, racing, triathlon, Spartan, it doesn't really matter which avenue they do it, but building that experience here and like go back to instilling courage into others, right? To knowing what they're capable of doing has been probably one of the key aspects to the success of my business. Because even during the pandemic, when we shut down, we were still hosting online workouts and doing some of the crazy things that we do here, but they're just doing it at home with like backpacks, bag of water, like holding up their kids and doing overhead lunges, like just doing like cool things, to really keep the experience up. Because for me, like, I can't say I love fitness. I love what fitness does to the human body and what it can do to change somebody's life. And that's like when I say it's like, every trainer has their education, but it's like, it's a tool, right? It's a tool to use to be able to shape and sharpen somebody's life, kind of like iron sharpens iron. And so that's been honestly, I think the goal, for me, like what makes me different in my town, because I live in a small town, Simi Valley is only 127,000. I mean, it's a big town. It's 7 miles long by 4 miles wide, but there's probably 20 small box gyms, that are boutique gyms that have, I've seen, over 11 years, 15 to 30 come and go, and they just can't sustain that. Right. And and I'm probably one of the biggest in town when it comes down to client base and size. But I feel like that's what really does keep people. It captures the interestingness of showing people what they can really do, because sometimes people just go through life, they go to work, they come home, they do all this stuff. And it's dude, go play in the sandbox, go have fun, go do something with it, and that's really what I try to do. I'm planning in 2 weeks, we're going to go climb Mount Baldy, which is a 10,000 foot elevation climb. And I'm just hosting a hike. We're just going to go and do it. And whoever wants to come will come, and it's going to be an amazing experience. And I just love doing things like that because it's the experience is what does it.
Yep.
So
yeah, and it's you and I are very similar. If you didn't know that,
oh yeah,
bringing people to Tough Mudders, we do crazy stuff too. And you're right, it's that bond, and I like that term, fear bond, because every Tough Mudder I do, I see the same thing. It's the shared experience with a very specific group of people that will never be duplicated again. It's no different than last Friday, all of us playing paintball, with the Special Forces guys. That moment will never be recreated. We will never have that exact group of people having that exact experience all at the same time.
Yeah,
and those are the things that bring people together. So, again, kudos to you for leaning into that heavily and really creating something special for people. So, obviously, by all means, you have a great business. I'm assuming you're fairly profitable, but
coming out of the pandemic, it's crazy. We're going to be here forever. Let's just say that.
Right. But, let's backtrack a little bit, because we know it isn't always, sunshine and rainbows and kitties. So let's talk a little bit about the struggle, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this show. We have a lot of fitness professionals. We have a lot of new fitness coaches trying to figure out and navigate their way. Do I want to do online? Do I want to open a gym? Who are my people? So let's talk about some of the struggles along the way and what you really did to overcome those things and get to where you are now.
Well, I mean, so when I got into fitness, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always known I want to work for myself. And when I go to get jobs, when I worked at Bally's, it was really just for the experience of how does the business side run? How does the training protocols run? How to really develop my education, because going from real estate into fitness, it's like learning from scratch. I didn't really go to college. I actually went to college to become an auto mechanic, and I'm not there, so, yeah, that's a whole nother story. So it was a really great experience. And like I said, I got very lucky with the mentor that I had when it comes down to the vision of what I wanted and the stance that I wanted. But yeah, it's definitely hasn't been easy. So the moment that I knew that I was, or when I was ready to open up my gym was, I think I told Jonathan this story, is I was working for Bally's. I was selling 10,000 a month in sales. I was training probably 40 to 50 hours worth of training. I was a booked trainer, right? There was a waiting list at some points to work with me. And one of my boss, so the boss that I referred to in the, earlier, he wasn't there anymore. There was this new manager that came in, and he approaches me and he's like, hey, I need $3,000 in sales to hit my quota. Can you sell X, can you sell, we'll just say Diana, a 30 pack, I know she's got 15 or 20 sessions left, can you sell her so that way we can do it? And literally the next day, that's when I quit my job, because I was tired of I'm a people person. I'm a connector. This is what I love about fitness, is because I get to have vulnerable conversations with people. I get to build lifelong relationships. I mean, I'm divorced now, but at my wedding, 90% of the people in the crowd were my clients, because they were a part of our upbringing. And so I just didn't like being a salesman. I don't like to sell. When people come into my gym, they're already pre-sold because they've tried everything else. I'm not the cheapest. I'm the most expensive here in town. So when they come here, they know that they're going to get results, right? They just had to try everything else to prove to themselves that that we're the best. And so when I first opened up my business, I started as a boot camp. So I actually started with the Fit Body Bootcamp franchise originally. And this is actually before they were a franchise. They were only a licensing agreement where they're their business model was renting like a cheerleading studio or like a gymnastics center to be able to have like low overhead, a big space. You know, they don't use the space. They don't really use the money. They don't need the money because the space is empty. So it's like any money that they do make from me is like, you know, extra profit. And I started from scratch. Like I really had no help. I hit the ground, you know, I went door to door, every business owner I met. I picked sections of my town to go out and shake hands with other business owners on how we can network and how we can market together. And, you know, I went to tanning salons, I went to hair salons, I went to like pretty much any place to go where people go to feel beautiful and to feel good about themselves. And those are the types of people that I want to like market with and, you know, do business together. But for the first year, I was probably expensing out $3,000 a month and I was making $500 a month. But I just didn't care because I'm on my mission. Like I want to help people. I want to build a business. I want to build just something amazing. And so for the first year, that was kind of like what that would look like. Then Groupon, talk about the Groupon era. Okay. That's what really blew my business up. Those super low bearing offers, they had a huge email list. I did like a $29 a month offer. I got 500 people to buy. And it literally blew my business up overnight. The problem with that is I was an owner operator. I had no employees. I did everything myself. I did all my credit card processing, which at the time wasn't EFT. It was all every month I had to like put it in, which took up so much time. The quality of my workout went down because I didn't have enough equipment for people. I literally had like 50, 60 people in a class and I'm the only trainer trying to come up with workouts for 50, 60 people. So talk about super high stress. And then not only that, but then when it came time to once their month was up, I was charging at the time, you know, this was 2010, end of 2010, beginning 2011, you know, close to $200 a month. Right. But I didn't even have a logo on the door. I was subleasing a space from a cheerleading facility and like, you know, out of those 500 people, you know, maybe 80 stayed, which is still a great, you know, it was still a great return, you know, but the value wasn't there, you know, because out of 500 people, I only got 80 people to stay on board. And it's funny, most of those people are still with me today too, which is awesome. So that was a crazy learning experience, you know, trying to figure out like not just client experience, because that's my biggest thing, right? Because client experience is it's like that's my defense. That's what keeps our clients, you know, having great workouts, having good experiences, having those fear bond moments and things like that. So that was a crazy tough time because I'm like, what am I going to do with all these people? How am I going to sell them? How am I going to sustain them? How am I going to deliver results? You know, being an owner operator. So that was a crazy learning experience. And, you know, that was when I actually had to hire my first employee, which was actually a person who went through my program, who had a great transformation, very like dug into my culture, what I represented, ended up becoming one of my top trainers at the time. So she really helped out, stepped in. And then in 2012, I ended up getting away from the franchise and opened up and started at Epic Fitness. That's what I named it. And Epic stands for Every Person is Courageous. And we'll get to that later. So that was quite an interesting learning experience. I've never really had to manage people. Like in all my other businesses, I was an owner operator, did real estate by myself. I had a partner, but we really didn't have employees. I just contracted contractors to do the work, you know, at the houses when I was flipping homes at the time. So learning how to like manage people, how to like decipher personalities and really work on their strengths and their weaknesses. Like now I know like to build their strengths and not really worry about their weaknesses, because their weaknesses, like I have them for their strengths. So let's build their strengths. So that was a really good learning experience through that. I failed a lot of that too, because I kind of gave the golden platter, because at the time it was like nothing I did really made her happy, because she was just not a happy person with her own life. And no matter how much money I paid her, no matter how much I extended out of my way, she ended up becoming a very big poisonous cancer cell within my gym. Became friends with a lot of our clients. Then once like we had to part ways with our relationship, a bunch of people went with her. So lost a lot of business there, which is a very big, scary thing in the fitness industry, because, you know, anybody, you can go to a park and work out and really do any of that type of stuff. Then in the end of 2012, I ended up meeting my ex-wife, who had a business degree in fashion and saw something special that I had going on. And in it was like right after, we'll fast forward a little bit, right after 2014. Yeah, we got married 2014. She ended up, was like, let's do this full time. So she came in and we just hit the ground running. We ended up signing up with like a fitness business coaching company to help us build systems and do all that stuff to prepare us for employees, how to show them like the growth in our business, because I just paid them what I could afford versus like showing them like this is the path of where you can go. And we just grew from 2014 to about 2016. We grew from about 100 members to almost 250. And then from there, we then grew into our own space. So we moved out of the cheerleading facility that we were at. We rented the place where I'm in now, which is, the baseline, it's like 6,600 square feet. And then upstairs, we have another 2,000. And then from 2016, we'll say to the 2019, we grew from 250 to 500 clients. Grew a staff. We had a staff of 12, and I think that was probably even harder than having a smaller staff, because now you're dealing with a bunch of different personalities. There's a lot of ego in the fitness world, and what I do is the best, and I'm going to do it my way because this is the way that I've always done it. Versus like being a part of a team and conforming to what the mission really. And so that was a really difficult learning time, and, really keeping up, especially with having 500 members, keeping client experience good. We had like 50 people classes, which was like organized chaos, but, it was like the energy was off the hook. Like, and like when you're in a room with 4 people versus 50, and if there's energy, even if you're like an introvert, you're going to become an extrovert. So that was an interesting experience. It's been a great learning process. It really has been. Like, through a lot of my failures, like I look at failing as that's my school. It's like, what do I not do again? And through the leadership mistakes that I feel like I've made, giving people raises because I feel like that's what they need to make them happy, versus like really enticing them to grow and growing with them, was a huge good learning experience, about owning a business, because I'm trying to get out of training. Like, I love training. I want to be able to coach. Like, I want to be, I think Jonathan, you mentioned it, like I want to be the mayor. Like, when the mayor comes into town, like everybody's happy, but like, I want to really grow and work within my business. And that's kind of where I'm headed in future growth. And so then in 2019, I had a crazy internal issue where my ex-wife ended up having an affair with one of our employees' wives. And that took an entire culture shock through not only my staff, through my clients. I mean, we were all embedded. We were one big happy family, and talk about some forced growth. I had to, I am paying $6,000 a month in rent. I have a 10K a month payroll. I have all this stuff I have to upkeep. We probably lost about 75 to 80 members just from my divorce and the start of my divorce. And then the 2020 hit, the pandemic, which honestly, like, timing couldn't have been better. Like, I get emotional about it because like, I felt like that I don't think we would have survived without the pandemic, just because it allowed me to be able to reset and diagnose the business. Because what my role was really within the business as it grew was like being the pretty face versus like being a part of operations, being a part of like the financial side of things, because my ex-wife did a lot of that stuff. And so it forced me to get extremely uncomfortable, to the point where I had to dig deep, go through our finances. I had to figure out how to cut costs, because my landlords were great. They worked with me, but I still paid everything. I didn't miss a beat. And now I'm up to date. I paid everything off, all my back rent that I had through the pandemic. I was able to do all that stuff. So they were very helpful, but I had to like become a strategist, a financial strategist, on how to save the business, keep my clients moving, keep them going, keep my staff moving, because we went from 500, then we lost 80, then we cut that in half. So we were pushing just under 200 clients, you know, at the beginning of 2020. And then we're shutting down, you know? So like, I've always been a person where I've always leaned into fear. Like if it scares me, I'm gonna go for it. And so, and this was probably one of the most scariest times of my life because I'm losing my family, I'm losing my business. Like I thought everything, my whole life was crumbling. And, you know, but it really got me, it was like the best fast track college experience of finances, leadership, I mean, everything, you know, culture, saving culture, how to bring culture from in-house to online, how to convert an in-house business to an online business. And it was like overnight. It was like March 15th, we shut down. March 16th, we had our first live workout online. And then now I have multiple studios where we still host online workouts. And it's a staple part of our company. Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy journey and a crazy ride. And, you know, and it's sent me into some pretty dark places. I've always suffered from anxiety and depression my whole life. And, you know, I could have been the person to, you know, be the victim. And I don't like being the victim. I don't like not being in control of my life. And when you're in that state of depression and when you're in that state of fear, you become a victim. And, you know, it's like you're in prison, and I don't like that feeling. And, you know, I had to mourn, I had to tackle some demons that I had, and, you know, leaned in. And, you know, and I always say, like, when the dust settles, the phoenix will rise, and the phoenix has risen. And it's a beautiful thing because now we're coming out of this pandemic with amazing structure, amazing systems. My staff that has not only has stuck with me, the staff that did stick with me through the pandemic, we're all growing together. And it's been a leadership shift. It's been a culture shift. You know, my clients feel it. My staff feels it. You know, it's led me to now meet you guys and be involved with things that are bigger than me, because I'm at a point where if I can survive this, like, it's unstoppable, you know? And like I feel like I can just, like, I'm the Hulk and I could just take the world and let's go, you know? And yeah, so it's been crazy, but like to be able to shift and pivot, I think that those are some of the biggest things that to do on the fly, and in a sense of fear, you know, because there's so many people, and I know there's a lot of trainers that go out that are like, oh, I want to own my own gym, and they just don't take the plummet because they don't understand. And when they do, they realize that it's not only takes a ton of money, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of sacrifice. You know, I've missed birthdays, I've missed family events, I've missed travel, you know, for the first 6, 7 years, even 8 years of my business. You know, I missed my nieces and nephews being born because I was tied to my business. You know, but like if you I always say, if you're in this business for your passion, you're going to be successful. If you're in this business for the money,
right,
not going to happen, you know? And I think that that's been some of my biggest eye-opening moments, especially in the most darkest times, that keeps me going, because I love people. I want everybody to be successful. I want at their own level, you know, because my level of success is not going to be their level of success, but it's like, hard is hard. Their hard is just different, you know? And like, that's like some of the biggest things that, like, I always take, not only with my coaching, how I coach my clients, how I coach my staff, but how I want to now coach into the future to instill courage into people that life always, you know, they always say YOLO, like you only live once. No, it's YODO, you only die once and you should live every day.
Yep.
And that's now my vision after being able to go through what I have these last 2 years of my life. Because the first couple of years of my business, like the first between 2010 and 2017 was great growth. There's a lot of learning curves, but then these 2019 to 2021 has been like, this is where the change has happened. And this is where, like, it shows what you're truly capable of. And like, I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful to be open again, you know, to serve our community. Cause, you know, it's been 11 years, you know, it's a huge staple. And, you know, I want to be here for decades to come. And so, yeah, it's been absolutely nuts.
That is fantastic, dude. Really, thank you for sharing all that. You know, so many lessons there. perseverance, obviously overriding all that. And, when you talk about the pandemic, our mentor, Ryan Stewman, he said it early on. He's like, it's going to be a separator. And it absolutely has. There's so many people in our circle that have absolutely thrived in the last year.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not knocking anybody who hasn't. I know a lot of people lost a lot of things, including, friends and family members and all that. But there's a lot of people that took the time to say, okay, how do I succeed in this? Again, where do I solve the problems? What can I do to serve people?
Mhm.
And those of us who did are coming out the backside of this, really, really well, and well positioned to continue to serve, like you just said, for a really, really long time. So that's great, man. And, again, totally appreciate your vulnerability, sharing the story, the ups and downs. And that's, for you guys listening, that's the entrepreneur journey right there. Like in a nutshell. I mean, you couldn't paint it any better than that. So as we start to wrap this up, got a couple of really quick rapid fire questions for you.
Shoot it.
So first one, if you could be any superhero's villain, what villain would you be?
What's weird is I don't watch a lot of superhero stuff. So I don't know villains. That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't have an answer for that.
Stumped him.
Yeah. Very much so. A superhero's villain.
Like we got Thanos, we got, Lex Luthor, you got, who else you got? You got people like that.
Yeah. I don't have an answer for that because I'm not too familiar with a lot of villains. So I wish I could answer that.
You got Greg Glassman. You know who that is,
Yeah.
All right, how about this? What's your favorite exercise to make other people do?
I wish I was wearing my shirt. Okay. My dog's name is Burpee. So if that gives you an idea.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's not the fact that I love making other people do it. I generally love burpees. And I put them in every workout that I do for myself. I put them in almost in every workout that I do for my clients. I love burpees.
I dig it. All right, last question. If you could have a billboard for everyone to see, I mean, everyone, what message would you have on that billboard?
Every person is courageous.
I love it. I love it. Mic drop right there. Dude, Adam, you are awesome, man. I know I can speak for John on this. We definitely look forward to continuing to know you and grow with you and watch all of us flourish and really do our part to make an impact on this industry, which is what we're all here for. So thank you so much for your time. Really, really do appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, no, it's been a blessing. And, it's been awesome meeting you guys and networking and, we'll see you. Well, hopefully I have my daughter the weekend of our next Fly-In Friday. So I hope to just meet you guys and continue to grow and thrive. And yeah, it's been a blessing.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. If you're listening, once again, make sure you subscribe, leave a 5-star review, share this on the gram and the socials. And John, take us home, baby.
And as always, be like Adam and go get what you're worth. Yeah. Damn good show. Damn good.